So you wanna be a picture book writer, then you gotta write picture books. And you're gonna need a bucket load of bright ideas for titles, plots, and hooks. If you're partial to prose or you're raring to rhyme, then repeat after me, it's a challenge, but I'm gonna tackle each story 1 month at a time with 12 by 12.
Here's a question. What medium do you use for your art? So I want to move more into some of the process.
Sure.
What medium do you use? Traditional, digital, combination of both?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you asked about the process because that's definitely something else that I kind of wanted to share. So for my, when I make my artwork, I draw on a piece of paper, just letter size paper with a pencil. And once I like my drawing, I go over it with a pen. And you can see that sometimes then I scan my drawings. And so you'll notice that sometimes maybe they're missing the arms or something. Some parts I draw later. And then I'll scan my drawings. I have, just a pretty regular scanner that's connected here to my computer. And then I collage my illustrations in the computer. And if you guys like, I can show you.
Oh, yes, please. That would be awesome.
Okay, so let me see. Let me find a file first. So a drawing that I can show you.
A demonstration. Woo!
All right, so, all right, let me share my screen now. Okay, so here's that drawing that I just showed you, and I scanned it, and now I can see it in my computer. And then I can scan drawings, but you can scan whatever you put on the scanner. So I have folder full of different textures of different things that I've scanned. So for example, a texture that I'll use a lot is this brown paper. And it's just a paper bag that they gave me at the supermarket, and I scanned it on my scanner. And then what I do is that I select different areas. This is just Photoshop. So for example, I can choose the face here, the neck. I'll do the legs there. And then I go back here to this other file, and I can, let me see, move this a tiny bit. I can select it, and then I can copy it. And then here, let me just do something so that it'll be color. And then I can paste into it. And that becomes the skin.
Wow.
Or so, for example, I'll do her skirt. And so, for example, here's a pair of jeans. I'll use this one that I put on top of my scanner. So now I can see their texture, and I can select it. I can copy it, and I go back here and I paste into it. And that becomes her skirt. And I'll do one more, I'll do her hair. And so, for example, for hair, I could try and put my head in the scanner and try and scan hair that way. But instead of doing that, I can take a photograph of someone's hair or find a picture on the internet. And so here's this picture that I like of an Elvis wig that someone else took. And so I can copy it, and I go back here and I'll paste into it. Oh, and it's kind of small. And so I can make it big. Maybe rotate around a little bit, and that becomes the hair. And I just kind of continue building my illustration like that. And so it's a kind of collage. I call it a digital collage, but instead of using scissors and glue and different fabrics or different photos from magazines, I'll use the scanner in the computer.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if you look at my books, you'll see that for all the different parts, for Pancho's pants and for the coyote's fur and for all the different areas, I use that technique. And so when I'm first coming up with the most challenging.
There's the Elvis wave, I think.
Yeah. Definitely, I use that
That's so
hair
awesome. And then on the front, you can see
the jeans.
jeans. And then I'm wondering, because this is another one of my favorites that came out last year. So like, would we assume then that this is some fabric that you?
Yeah, I think those were some pajamas that I have that I scanned or something. A lot of things I photograph or find on the internet, but some there's, if I find interesting textures, I like scanning them. And so when I'm first coming up with an idea when I'm first writing and first drawing, it can be, that's when I get more, when I can get stuck a little bit more, that like, I like going to the library, somewhere quiet. When I'm writing, I don't even like listening to music. I have to be very quiet. I like going to the park, and I usually write on a notebook, and then I'll type it in the computer after. And that's kind of the more creative kind of time, so to speak. When I'm doing this, usually I start with a story and I'll write, and not everything I write becomes a book, Well, actually, the first thing that I often do is research, depending on the project, So for several of my projects, for example, for this one, for Separate is Never Equal, I tried to learn as much as I could about the case, read different articles. I was actually able to meet Silvia Mendez and ask her questions. So that's the first part. Then I write it, then I share with my editor. And sometimes he'll be like, I'm not sure if it's the right project for us, And so out of every 5-10 things I write, one becomes a book, And then once he says, okay, well, I think this can be an interesting book, let me show it to the other editors. Then he'll show it to the other editors, then he'll show it to, if they like it, then they'll show it to the marketing team. And then if everybody thinks that it's a book that is where they can make money, or at least not lose too much, then they'll give me the green light. They'll offer me a contract. And so, then I'll write the story, and I always have to revise it. And always when I'm writing, I'll do little doodles, little drawings next to the page. Let me see if I can show you. Even if you're not illustrators, there's something that I kind of recommend doing. It's just, just kind of thinking of what goes in each page. And ultimately, it'll be the illustrator who will illustrate the book and decides what goes in each page. But I think it'd be a good exercise to kind of think, if you're focusing too much on one part of the story, to just kind of balance your story out a little bit. And here's another example that are a little bigger that you may be able to see, But yeah, once my text is closer to done, throughout I'll make kind of little doodles of what I'm thinking of putting in each page, where I think the text will go. But I don't do very detailed sketches until maybe the manuscript is not perfect, but it feels like the general shape, the base, the foundation is there. It's maybe more changing some words here, some words there, but the kind of the skeleton of it is very, very clear. And so then I'll do sketches for the whole book, just in black and white, like the drawing I showed you, without any, just line drawings. And then after that is when I'll put the different color and textures into the illustrations. And when I put the color and textures into the illustrations, it takes me a long time, because I pay attention to all the little things, and I like, let me make this a little darker. Let me make this a little lighter. Make me this a little bluer. So I'll play a lot with it and experiment a lot with it. And it takes me a long time, but I don't have to think as hard. It's a little bit more labor, if you may, so I can have the news on, or music on, or sports or something, I can kind of be a little bit more distracted. And usually from start to finish, a book takes me about a year. I usually make a book about a year. From the time that I first kind of get a project approved till the time that the illustrations are totally finished is at least 6 months, sometimes closer to a year. And then after that, after I finish, the book still needs to be printed and bound. It's at least another 6 months, sometimes more like a year, until the book is actually available in bookstores. Abrams, I've worked with the same editor with Howard for 10 books now. Pretty much all the books that I've written and illustrated, I have worked on with Howard. And yeah, that for I know most of you are, maybe some of you are published or working on getting published. And I feel that maybe that's something that doesn't, I guess I just want to say that making a book is a very collaborative effort. Obviously you have, as an author and an illustrator, like you're a huge part of it, you're the biggest part of it. But I think an editor really kind of has a big influence in what kind of projects you end up publishing. And I'm very happy with the editor that I've worked, because he works with many other authors, and so he has great insight into.
Do it together, so never you fear. It's a handy little way to help you kick into gear. You're amazing, exciting. Look out, 'cause you're writing 12 by 12. 12 manuscripts. 12 by 12. 12 picture books. 12 by 12.